swear I gotta sit here and try and get comfortable and try and get like, okay, try and get it's such an hard time. And then the whole time I'm like, okay, get this out of the way, get this out. So silly. Anyways, first off, I gotta say the stuff I forgot to say yesterday. So the thing about the teenagers on the boat, I don't know how many people have seen about that, but it's so horrendous. I just can't even, there's so many horrendous things happening. It's like mental. I mean, I knew it was coming, but geez. A cruise ship with all these graduates, these high school graduates, and they, where were they? It was like by South America, I think. Or no, by the Caribbean. I think they were on a Caribbean cruise, like the high school class together. And somebody dared a kid to jump off the boat, and he motherfucking did it. God. He jumped down in there. They threw him a, the ship was moving so fast. It moved away from him really quick and did it in the dark. And they threw a thing down to him, but I don't know. The last I heard that they had been searching a couple days and couldn't find him. And then somebody was saying that there was a shark in the water. Like, who knows? Like, I don't know. I just feel so bad for the parents. Like, oh my God. Can you imagine? You go send your child on this cruise. You pay all this money, and then they go and jump off. It's like, what in the holy hell? And the girl who was talking about her near-death experience thing. So what happened with her? So when she fell and she separated from her body, and her body went up like that, and then there was something that opened. I can't remember how she explained it, but there was something, and so she stepped up out of her body and she went into the other realm, the other dimension. And I can't remember all the stuff that she said. It was real quick what happened, but it was like immediately an energy force came in and it knocked her, and it said really loudly to her that you can kill yourself, but you can't kill me or kill my. It was making it clear to her that she couldn't kill this. She couldn't do it. It wasn't up to her. And I can't remember the whole thing, but it was super cool because it really changed her thing. She came back and it was like, it woke her up from that aspect of life. And I think she stopped doing drugs then. I'm not sure. I don't know all of her story. But I thought that was really interesting. And see, again, you can't go before your time. I mean, they'll just push you back. And if you're doing stuff like that, like you just constantly overdosing, constantly just playing, you know, when I was going out and I was doing drugs all the time, and I was, my time that I remember, like I was a speed demon. I was a lead foot. That's what I'd be called. All these things I'd be called. I was a speed demon, lead foot, daydreamer. There's just so many rude words that they would call you back then. Of you know, if you weren't just fitting into exactly to what the expectation that was put on you, and but I wasn't overdosing. I wasn't going and, you know, being hooked on some drug. Give me that drug. Give me that drug. It was way more of, you know, somebody come in, hey, I got some of this. I'd be like, I'll try it. I did really like Quaaludes. Quaaludes was really popular back then. And I did Quaaludes a lot and drank. And, you know, I could have died any of those times, I guess. It's barbiturates and alcohol that will do you in. And Quaaludes are some sort of a horse tranquilizer. I couldn't believe that when I heard that. It's like, I really like the horse tranquilizer. But it just took away all your problems. Just everything went away. And I had a lot of problems when I was a kid. And so I did a lot of drugs, but I wasn't overdosing. Like my guides weren't, you know. Everything to me, always, my guidance was always live and experience, you know. I just lived by that kind of, I don't know, that's what they kind of, like I knew you couldn't die ahead of time. But it wasn't like I was playing with death. It wasn't like I was trying to die. If that was my intention, then it would be like that girl. Like, you'd go over and they say, hey, get your shit together, get your ass back in there in the game, quit fucking around. And, so many people, they need that to go to pass to the other side, to remember, to, get that little, but, I knew, but the time that I remember, or the time besides the coming out of my body, that was really significant in my understanding, just because when you go in and you feel yourself out of your body and you feel exactly the same, but you're not in your body, that's very mind opening. You really realize, like, oh, I'm real. I don't have to be in that body to be real. I'm real. Me, I'm separate from that. Me, I'm real. And so it is that that kind of realization or something. But for me, where I saw the magic of how they make sure that you don't, was that the thing that I would have had a car wreck. And it was so crazy, because it was like, there was no way, there was no fucking way it wasn't going to crash. And it was a big old truck. And I just closed my eyes, and then nothing happened. Maybe I did. Maybe I really left. I don't know. But when I opened them, I was on the other side of the truck. I was in front of the truck. And so I was just like, whoa, what'd they do? Just pick me up and push me over the fucking truck? It was like trippy. So I've seen magic a lot of times. Like, those aren't the only times. I've seen a lot of magic. I've interacted with spirits and aliens and all that stuff through my childhood, because I knew that the ones who were talking to me were, aliens, because that's the stuff they talked about. It was, and I mean it, the stuff they talked about in the way of like an understanding of a child. Like, they weren't talking to me like, they were telling me like we were an experiment. We were like this big lab. We were this, like a zoo. They told, like, they would explain things on things I could understand. So we were being watched, and we were being tested on. It was contained. And, but there was things they said, like about Adam and Eve, when they told me, that wasn't, the stuff that we were told. They would tell me that's not true, and stuff like that. And I knew, I just knew they were people out, they were more advanced. Like, I don't know, they never gave me any reason to question. And I didn't go around asking names. Like, all these people are always like, I'm channeling blah, blah, blah. I'm channeling blah, blah, blah. I'm speaking to all of that stuff. I don't know. That's never been a part of my thing. It's never been a thing about, names and all that stuff seems important to humans, but it doesn't seem so important to them. They come in and go, oh, by the way, I'm so-and-so. Don't forget it. I'll be back tomorrow. It wasn't, it's more like you're doing something and, you're being watched, because they'll chime in. Like, what do you think about this? What do you think about, what are you doing that for? Stuff like that. So, anyways, I just feel like really lucky, when I see what people go through, and oh my gosh, it is crazy. And the hold religion has on people. And man, so, let's see, there was a couple more things that, I just saw this video. This really, I thought was good, because this is back when I was younger. So this is a lesbian woman who's probably around my age, and she remembers things back like, oh, I remember things. And, she, the women back then who were lesbian, and they were called Butch and Dyke, and people were mean as fuck. And she said she got kicked out of the military, she lost jobs, all of that kind of stuff. And see, they just wanted to be accepted for just being, and it wasn't about sex like that back then. It became in the 80s with the drugs and in the gay bars. Definitely. It was fucking, like, anywhere you looked over in a dark corner, there was people doing it. And I was 100%. And I mean, there was like if you had to go pee, you wouldn't go there. No, I'll wait. You just go out and dance, sweat it out, sweat it out. You walk down those halls. Yeah, it was a fucking Sodom and Gomorrah. Um, but but before, it was about love. People weren't going and trying to just be called perverts so that they could go have sex with somebody. They were in love with the other people. They were in love with their same gender. They were, very attracted. Like, I mean, just like attraction. It wasn't just like, I just want to have sex with them. I just want to do it with them. No, they wanted to get married. That's why they pushed the fucking, let us get married. Let us do this. Like, they've been pushing to just be accepted as regular people, just regular human beings. Please just accept us. And there was so much of that for so long. And that is where these corporations come in and take over this bullshit. And it's so aggravating to see this happen to these people who just wanted to be fucking, God damn, it makes me so sad. The one trans girl who was, doing her thing about, this is my 25th, or no, I think she made it 8 days as being a right-wing conservative, where they just attacked her, which I can't even imagine that, man, I don't know. I don't know who she got on her thing that was so attacking, the rude ass shit they were saying to her and stuff. Then you see this fucking Dylan and all these other ones too coming on and saying, I'm a lesbian. Dude, you're not fucking lesbian. You're not lesbian. You weren't born a woman and you're not in love with women. You're not a lesbian. That is not a lesbian. You got to be born. You're a fucking goddamn man who is very feminine, who's more comfortable being a girl, who likes girls. Like, dude, just because a lot of women don't want to go out with effeminate men. Lots of girls don't want to go out with effeminate men. I mean, that's the challenge of being an effeminate man. And, but to turn around and say, well, now I'm trans and now I'm a lesbian, that's just ridiculous. This is fucking ridiculous, man. Fuck, calling themselves a lesbian. That really irks me, these guys. I'm a lesbian. You're not a motherfucking lesbian, dude. You weren't born a woman. And God damn. Oh my God, the way they just take this shit and just turn it into whatever they want. And these players that go in and do it, they push the agenda because they got the backing of these psychopaths. And there's some of these people are being paid by a certain party to go out and push this stuff. Like, I saw a video after Joe felt this guy is pulling up, okay, so yeah, the guy who was showing this video, this kid, and he's got to be one of these ones because they are paying young people to go in and push their agenda. And so he was, when Trump was going down that ramp and had to hold on to that guy and was walking really slow, and Trump said he had, he has shoes on that men wear with suits. Those shoes are slippery as shit. Like, I can't even handle wearing women's shoes with those slick things. Like, I'll put them on, I'll like try an outfit, Walking on this floor, I'll start slipping and it's flat. So yeah, I'm not into those slick heels. But so he said, and it had been snowing and or it was like cold, raining, kind of sleety. I don't know. It was like a lot of cold and rain and stuff like that. And it was really slippery on that ramp. And the general guy was wearing these big, army shoes, rubber, those appropriate shoes for this kind of thing. So that he said that's why he was doing it. The guy was trying to really help him get down because it was so slippery. And, but Joe's, that was a show. That was a motherfucking show. And, he just fell right off the stage. He said, supposedly, oh, well, there was a sandbag. I literally had somebody come into my thing and start saying, well, what's the problem? He fell off a sandbag. I was like, you, I can't even fucking argue with these people. I'm just constantly like, okay, well, I don't have time to argue with you. You really think this shit. You really think, like, it's ridiculous. So this, the guy who was talking about this kid, he goes in and he's talking smack on Trump and, saying a bunch of rude shit. Like, we all heard it. back when that was happening. It was just every opportunity to put him down any way they could. And he even said they didn't even talk anything about this good speech he did for these guys. They didn't even bring any of it up. All they wanted to do was talk about, he's an old man. He can't even get down the ramp. Look at him. And, let's watch as he goes. They were just total like assholes. And so then the guy is sitting there like totally switching it on Joe. That's no big deal. I mean, everybody trips over sandbags. Like, you're trying to act like that he's old and not paying attention and all that stuff. It's like, I'm trying to pretend like somebody's trying to make him look a fool. That's what I'm trying to pretend. I think that is a guy in a mask trying to destroy his legacy. That's what I think. So anyways, I don't know. I mean, you got all these people on there. It's just completely, there's a lie through their teeth for money. It's bizarre how many people will just go against their own soul for money. Like, when you are going against what you want or going against what you know or you believe, you're going against your own soul. And you'll feel it. It will impact you. You'll feel it in your heart. You'll feel it in your wherever it is that we hold on to guilt and shame and that kind of stuff. You'll carry it. It doesn't go away. That's part of the game. That's part of the challenge of the game, is to be able to do what's right when everything around you and everyone around you is doing what's wrong. Can you still figure out what's right and do what's right? Or do you need to join into the club and do what's wrong so you can fit in and be a part of that group? And that group that can't see, they can't hear, they can't, they're very stuck. It's like you're going to follow along with the NPCs, basically, the ones who aren't thinking in the game. So anyways, like I said, I'm going to be a sunglass person. I'm going to get the game to work for me. And let me think, though, because there was some more stuff. There was man, I was watching that Vanderpump Rules again yesterday. And before I was watching, because in the evening after that day, and it was on they were talking in my head all night and shit. And I was like, man, maybe I just don't even need to watch this bullshit. So aggravating, just watching these people just be drunk and humiliate themselves, and their argument, the stuff is so ridiculous, and they're so shallow, and they have like one party after another. If they're not drunk from sunup to sundown, it's like a dud of a day. It's like, what in the hell with these people? And now they're like celebrating 40th birthday. Like, dude, you're not 25 anymore out there, acting stupid. Now you're doing it as a grown-ass adult. Like, well, by the age reference, which I really see the age reference thing now is part of the phenomena to age us. And it is kind of like, and I got it from watching the show. And when I was watching this show too, or after, I'm going through that part, then my guides they made sure to let me know that everything that you're doing, when you're doing it, is exactly what you're supposed to be doing. Like, we want you to watch this show. And I was like, okay, weird. So I started watching it again yesterday. And then I started recording nonstop over shit. And I was like, okay, I get it. Now I see I see why you want me to watch this. So it is, oh man, I've got a lot to say over dysfunctional relationships and people who it's just mindless, man, mindless living. So, and tea's already cooling. So it's like before, when I used to watch that show a long time ago, it was into, like, I used to watch the Housewives, and I had already stopped watching the Housewives, but my daughter was like, oh, you got to watch this Vanderpump Rules. These people are so out of control. But they were young back then, and they would do just like it was, it is a distraction from your own shit. You can go in and you can just judge these other people like, oh my God, can you believe them? Oh my God, can you believe, and that's what we kind of do. I think that's what reality TV is all about. It's a fucking distraction so that they want us to judge each other. They want us to look down on each other. They don't want us to see each other's story. And we have all these people out there playing this part because they want to be famous, so they'll just do anything that's just, they don't give a fuck. So, in the, this one right now, while they're these over-the-top birthdays, oh my God. And what a waste of money on some of this shit. And just so over-the-top ridiculous. Like, okay, let's all go to a, like, this has been, because it's all leading up to this, this Scandival. It's Tom of Tom Sandoval, the one Tom, who starts cheating on the girl and has this long affair. So it's this whole thing with these characters. But so since I'm on season 8 and it happens in season 10, it's like you're seeing it leading up to it. It's like, fuck, it's going to have to lead to some shit. Like, and I'll tell you what's really crazy too, is the girl he cheats on Ariana. So in this season, season 8, she is, she suffers with depression. She gets really down about a lot of stuff. A lot of these girls do. The girls, man, all these people need they need some healing. That's what I would say. But so she, let me think what I was going to say. So she, in this, yesterday when I was watching, she was, I think it was yesterday, she was crying, and she said that she just wants off. She wants out of the show. She just is so sick of the drama and so sick of the bullshit and stuff. She just wants out. I was like, oh. And she was asking Tom, can we just go and just live some life somewhere? Just like, why do we have to do this? And so see, the universe is going, she couldn't do it for herself. He's caught up in it. He's real caught up in it. He's so far up his own ass. Yeah, I don't know when he's going to see the light of day. But she, wants more. She's not satisfied. The friendships are shallow. And I mean, there's one part where these girls, her and this new girl and this other girl who just irks me, she's the one who is married to the guy who's another scandal that's happening off of this show, is because when she was in the younger days, she was having an affair with Randall, and he's a director. And so she was having an affair with him, and then it came out, he was married with 2 kids, and he divorced them, got together with Lala, and there was stuff that the wife was saying, so there was a whole scandal that went with that. And Lala is just so, she's like, man, she's like I don't even know how to explain. She's like a girl who was raised in the prison system or something, like, just like, but real pretty. So she's just, her personality is just, it's just, man, there's just no softness, no sweetness. She just, she's too rough for me. She's just a bitch, man. And so she, so in her, what we're leading up to too, is that Randall's going down with the Hollywood scene. He's getting, stuff's coming out on him. And so I'm not to that part yet. And now she's got a kid, I guess. We're not to that part. She's not pregnant or anything yet. So it must be next season or sometime. She could be pregnant and, we don't know. But, so her relationship's going to fall apart. He's cheating on her. He's one of the Hollywood weirdos who, likes, she was young and he was cheating. Like, girl, we could see this coming. Like, I'm sorry you couldn't, but, maybe you should get your head out of your own ass too. Like, these people they're so fucking up their own ass. So, and then Sandoval, he cheated on Ariana and with this other girl, Raquel, this long affair situation. But Ariana had wanted off the show, so it's like the universe is pushing her now. Like, yeah, you can't get yourself off, but we'll make sure. And that is, to me, is very much like, there's all these people talking about this time. And so many people, ever since I was a kid, I was dreaming, I knew I was going to be here for blah, blah, blah. I knew I was going to be here. Like, so many people. And I was thinking about, the things I knew, because I wasn't being prepared ever for the end. That wasn't, no, I knew even, it was weird too, because when I was a kid, I knew we would have like the Jetsons. I knew we would live like the Jetsons. And so I've always thought it was weird. Like, how did we get stuck? Why aren't we like living like the Jetsons yet? Like, this is so weird. But so I knew we would. So see, I know where I'm headed. And I was thinking some of these people who believe they were just here for the Armageddon, the end, then that is what they came for. I really think that so many people know what they're here for. They know. Like, it's inside of you. It's kind of like how cut off you are from your inner voice, your inner self. And, this world gives you so many distractions. I'm telling you, on this show, like, yeah, Ariana should have, followed her soul and seen, like, this isn't giving me back what I need. What do I need? Where do I need to be? Who do I need to be around? What kind of life do I need? What kind of lifestyle? Because there is so much about how the world teaches you is also through what you don't want. Because you have to experience these different things to see, do I want that? Do I not want that? Do I want that? Do I not want that? So we have to go through to figure out what we want. And what we don't want is included in what we want. So anyways, when people can't make their own decision, and that is why we have so much of this going on right now, where people's jobs, their homes, everything is just being ripped out from under them, because it wasn't where they were supposed to be. It was something they were trying to create that wasn't, and they couldn't recognize that it wasn't fulfilling them, that it was doing the opposite. It was tearing them down. It was beating them down. It was holding them back. And so the universe steps in, and the universe starts taking shit away. And so, that's the thing, is like, if you don't listen when they're inside you talking, then they'll just come out and start shifting things in your life. But you got to remember too, is it isn't like a scary movie, like, oh, you better be doing this or they're going to just step in. It's always, however it is always the way it's going to be. Like, we're in a replay. We're not in the beginning of it. We're in the replay event. Like, we're watching shit play out. And it's so crazy too, is how they started like telling me, like, it isn't, like when you're in this part where it's like, oh my God, it's so stagnant, nothing's happening and blah, blah, blah. And for them to be, this is part of the story. This is, like, when like knowing ahead of a story, like I know ahead of the story. And so but I don't have all the filler. I can just see certain things, certain events, but I don't have all the filler. But the filler is what makes the story. So we have to have the filler. And the filler, that's why I say we don't get to know every single thing that plays out and how it's going to play out. And if they told you every single thing, you would try and control it. And they have shown me that, they told me that before, but then they showed me that because something, I don't remember what it was a few weeks ago or a couple months ago or something, and they told me something, and it was I think they were just trying to make a point, and it was right away. I was like, oh, well, I can change that. I was like, no, that's the point. You're not supposed to. This is what happens. This is how it has to happen. This is what's supposed to happen. It has a play out. It has the replay is playing. And so, when you do 30 seconds back on your remote, you can't change the story. The story still has to play. Oh, that looks so weird. The story still has to play out the way it was going to play out. And this is so we can witness, so we can experience it on another level. That's like a soul. It's the same thing as like if you create a dream. So you don't create a dream. So create a fantasy. So in your mind, and that's what we're all doing right now. The ones who are awake, We're creating a fantasy in our mind, kind of. We're creating our future. And to me, I go by what they tell me and show me and stuff like that. And so whatever, they show me and tell me and stuff, then I will focus on that future. And I don't try and fill it in with a bunch of filler, because to me that is, something that they've taught me is setting myself up for, that is creating expectation and setting myself up for disappointment. So it's kind of like you got to just know that something's going to happen, but you can't know all the details of it. You just have to be like, okay, well, this is going to happen. So however it's going to happen is going to happen, and let it go. So when I'm focusing on my future, it's like I'm seeing it, but I'm not trying to make all the details, but I can look towards it and I can see it. And so so in this idea of us creating our future, and the soul, your oversoul, giving you the information. This is what I think. And so they give you the information and they show you. But I just think a lot of people, they think, oh, that's just my thoughts, that's just in my mind, or they don't go with what they're being shown or told, because they don't really understand. And so they think, well, I've got to come up with my own future, I've got to come up with my own plan. And and plans won't work unless it's coming from them. And hopefully some of the people are hearing the plan and they don't realize that it is coming from somewhere else, but they're still following it. They think it's coming from them and they like it. But not always is your plan gonna be something where you're like, oh yeah, that'd be cool. To me, on mine, it was intimidating. There's a lot of stuff like go and start doing this, start going and talking, start putting my face on a camera, like and talking. Like, what? I don't even like my voice. Why would I do that? And so, all of the things you just don't know. But see, they already know. They already know where it's going to go. They already know what's going to happen. But if you don't listen and go and do what they tell you, then, that is where I say you're on that other timeline of learning to listen. And, to me, I don't have as much choice because I know when they're talking and when they're telling me things and when they're showing me things. And if I don't listen, then it's like, what have we been doing for all these years? Like, it's time to listen. Because we're all kind of being trained like that, to tune in and listen. But so when you're creating your fantasy life, but it isn't just like, man, because I swear to God, I cannot even believe, like, there's video after video of these, listen to this sound and you will have a lot of money. Do this and you will manifest a lot of money. Everything is money, 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 money. That is so three-dimensional. That is three-dimensional living. You don't sit and just manifest money, manifest security. You manifest abundance. You manifest, just like money. And it can come in other ways. A lot of what's going to come is people are going to be given houses and stuff. There's so many different things to get abundance than to just get, money handed to you. And so, I don't know. There's still so many people that are still so trapped in the three-dimensional kind of trappings. And it is, what is that thing? Because I don't know, something with the gay people. I do feel so bad, man. because they've struggled for so long for acceptance, and how it's just been turned into this just sex. Oh yeah, those girls, because that was so annoying. So those on the show, these girls, and they are all like, so the one girl is getting married, Brittany, and I guess this is a big thing that was on social media too. And she's a Southern Kentucky girl, they pray at dinner and all this stuff. And she had her preacher from her church or whatever was going to marry him. And then he is posting on social media all this hateful stuff about gay people. And so these girls, they're bisexual. And so then they're deeply offended. This whole drama ensues, of course. But so now they keep talking all the time. Oh, I'm bi. I've come out as bi. I'm bi. I'm bi. And we're the bi sisters. We're bi, and all this stuff. And it was just like, it goes from one thing to now this extreme other. And to me, it's like, you're just, I could be completely wrong, but it sounds like they're saying, I like to have sex with girls and guys, but, to me, the whole thing about gay or bisexual or whatever is like, you love them, you want to marry them, you want to spend time with them. That is what it is. It's not just like, who do I want to have sex with? Yeah, I'll have sex with boys and girls. Yeah, I'll do threesomes. Yeah, I'll do this. Like, that just means you're really open to a lot of stuff sexually. It doesn't necessarily, I don't know, man. I just don't know. To me, everything is becoming so distorted and so dime store. Like, and then when everything is like so just dime store like that, then it takes the value out of what the people are fighting for, of acceptance that their love is just as important as our love. But then they want to come in, these other people, I'm not saying it's the people who are fighting for the right to love, who they want to love. I'm talking about the people who are trying to make like, it's all about sex. It's just sex, sex, sex. Even the Pride Parade. Oh, and that should be today. Maybe today is going to be some fucking spicy shit. We don't know what's going to happen. And I did get a call yesterday from the home thing. So I was like, okay, well, so they probably haven't filed yet. So maybe. And then I had, when I checked my mail, I had a bill from the trash people. And the bill was like, they were going to turn off my service on the 31st, and it was the 2nd if I didn't, and pay. It's like, I just got this bill, and I swear to God, I just paid last month. Like, what in the hell is going on with this shit? And so I called and called and called and called. Nobody answered. And their voicemail was totally full. And so, I don't know if this is, I'm going to try and call again on Monday and see, but, I don't know if this is how, like, some of our things are going to start crashing, people just not going to work, people, I don't know. I know that everything is going to go down. Now, I guess they've put out a new movie or a new show or something, and it is, I'm going to turn this a little because the sun, so it is, I'm not sure what it's called. I just seen where somebody had shared a clip, but it was, let me see, they said, I think it was like, so when the lights went out, the people didn't know what to do, and a lot of people panicked, and whatever, with the chaos and the cities and a lot of death and mayhem and all that stuff. So in this show, it's saying that the lights are going to go out, and that's when there's going to be all this crazy mayhem and all this. And then when they come back on, then we had to rebuild. We had to start over or something. I'm not sure, because it was just a clip somebody was sharing. So I'm not sure about the whole show or whatever. But they keep showing this stuff. Like, there's so many shows. Like, this is what's happening. And it is going to be, I'm not sure what is going to cause the panic and stuff. I kept thinking it was going to be all of it together, the money, the frustration, the lies, there's just so much the people who are not at all, I mean, a lot of people have been healing some stuff, so they won't lose their goddamn minds. Like some people are going to lose their goddamn minds, but they were always supposed to lose their mind. That's the way that they're leaving. So there's going to be, a huge thing like that. And so they're saying that the lights will go out and that will cause all the panic and all the craziness. And then, I think in the show, it seems like it was like 10 days, but it could have been longer. But then, and people thought it was the end and all that stuff. And that is what's going to go down. So, and that's when it's going to be super dangerous. Like, and it said, oh yeah, that's what it said too. So it said that in the cities it was totally dangerous, and it was people were being killed and stuff like that. And so they go through and talk about all the stuff that was going on in the cities, but they said the people who lived rural, let me think what they said. So they said the people who lived rural, that they went out, if they went out to get us and bring us in, or did they go, I can't remember now. God, that's so crazy. But something goes down out rural. And so, that's what I'm seeing what they're doing. They're coming out here and building these motherfucking houses. And you know what? Another thing too, like there's, one of the houses is black. They painted it black. There is no trees. This is like wide open where there is no shade. And all these houses are being painted these fancy colors and shit. I'm telling you, in another couple years, this is going to look more like such cheap housing. It's going to look like, what is that called? Like poor people housing or something, like projects or something. It's going to look like that. That's not made well. The colors are going to fade out and they're going to look really ugly. It's going to be like different colors on different sides. It's, when you're going to have those houses out like that, not to even plant any trees. I mean, what a cheap ass this guy is. Such a fucking cheap ass. And, how many houses he's got to put up at once. Dude, you're not doing any fucking favors to the community. And you got no fucking class. You just do a shit ass job. No integrity. So, when all those houses start, the colors fading and they don't have fences up. I mean, it's ridiculous. But, one of the things they're doing to do this is so that they can change the zoning, so that they can make different rules. So that's what they're in the process of doing, is something. And that is one thing it said in that show too, is something that they're doing. Or I'm getting another video mixed up with that one. But I know that they're doing something with the zoning out rural, so that they can, oh yeah, it was. So they can do something with the thing, so then they can say, like in an emergency, they can take over this area, so that they can come in and say, well, now we have your houses, we have to use your house, we have to, so that they can come. That's what it was. In the rural areas, they start doing land grabs. So they start taking people's places and stuff. And they've already started doing that. Like I've seen people fighting and arguing, doing videos talking about on TikTok how they're fighting, arguing with their city planners and all this stuff because of, one lady in particular, she's really gone, like, I think she's been on the news and everything. And I think hers is Colorado. And they started trying to take her land from her, saying that they needed it for public access. And she's right on a river. Like, that's the kind of shit they could do with my brother. He's on the Salmon River. Well, he's not yet. I mean, he has to still, his place is he's still in California. He's got 2.5 years, he said, till retirement. But his place that they're doing is out on the Salmon River. But that is where the government can come in. And it's so ridiculous. Like, where they come up and say, like, they can own the world. They can own the land. that this is forestry. Who said that you could make that into your land and you could call it forestry? I know. I feel certain that it is something with the land treaties and stuff with aliens. Like, I feel certain that that there's a whole thing about, I know there's portals and shit in all the forest. I know that anytime we go into the forest, we're entering into another area, like another realm. And that I think a part of it is, to keep control over us. But there's also a trade that they do. Like, they trade us for food, or trade us for technology. We're the food, they trade for technology. So they, and it's something about, all these people who go missing in these national parks and stuff. And there's all these caves and these entryways. Like, people are finding them now all the time. These entryways down into I don't know, there's system underground, because there's transport too. And I think this was in a QHHT thing that I had heard, and I know I talked about this before, or it could have. I think yeah, the QHHT thing talked about it. Also, is the guys from the secret space program, because the one guy, I can't think of his name, but he has said that there is whole like how we have trains going and we have them filled with stuff. He said they'll have like a kind of like a flatbed kind of train thing, and there'll be a couple and they're just stacked with dead bodies. And he said, but some of the beings like alive ones, so that they also have to trade living ones too. But that's the scary thing when you go into the forest. Like, are they just sitting there waiting so they can chomp you up? But even if they chomp you up, you can't, you don't die. You just, it's like the same thing in a video game. You get chomped up and then you just come back. Like, you're not, nothing happens to you. So, let me think. Because there's like, it feels like there's like, like there was, more things. I feel like I kind of went blank. So let me think of, because there's like all these different things that I've seen. What was that one that girl was just talking about? There's so much stuff of coming out now of that they've been doing to us for so long, like where all these people are researching and they're finding out, all this evidence of all this stuff. And all this stuff has been being done to us, ever since I was a kid. And so, like the poisoning and that wasn't the thing. It's like I can kind of see this. It kind of seems like a deck of cards with like all of them. You know how I said like flashcards, but it's kind of like they're all laying on top of each other. Like, I have to pick them up and look at the picture to see like what it is. And like yesterday I said, it's like they were flashing in like that. Now it's like, and then another day it was like they were kind of like there was so many. So that's what I'm saying. Sometimes it's just like there's like so much stuff that they will show me or tell me, but it's like little thing here, little thing there. And so I like to say the different ones, because there are so many that are, I think they're always saying stuff to me that seems really smart. Let me think. Does it seem like there was something else with that show too? I just can't get over how they all drink and drink and drink and drink and drink and drink. Like, oh my God, they're lit. And all these girls, especially if you compare them to how they looked a few years ago, they're all looking haggard. Drinking like that is not good for you. They are looking haggard. They're all looking like way more out of shape and stuff. And I just think people just don't realize, like, a small bit of alcohol, like there's so many people who struggle with their weight, and a small bit of alcohol every day will put on pounds, not just like a little. Like, I think a lot of us think, oh, what's a one glass of wine in the night? That's not gonna matter that much. I'll have a glass of wine, a beer, whatever, two. I mean, geez, that's not that many calories. It's not even the same calories as a fucking Coke. So, but it's something else in it. There's something that how it works in your body, that it adds on. And I don't know, I've heard it's because it's so much sugar or whatever. I don't know how, but it really does add on a lot. And I know I'm not the only person who experienced it, having one or two glasses of wine a night, and then you stop and it's like, oh my gosh, I didn't realize, like, I mean, it can be 10 or 15 pounds. And there was another girl, and she was one, and this was a while before that, and she was back in when I was a nurse and stuff, and I had my house and I had a pool, and she was over swimming, and I was sitting around, of course, having a couple beers or whatever, sitting out by the pool with everybody and stuff, and she was talking about that, and it wasn't like I was like, I mean, I don't think I've ever gained more than 45 pounds in my whole life over my weight that I was as a child. But she was, but I'm still, 20 pounds or something. You're just not as fit looking. And so I don't remember. It seemed like it was directed towards me. Like, you could look better if you didn't drink those beers. Beers are so fattening. And but she was telling me about, like, when she used to have like one beer a day or whatever, and then when she stopped, how much weight she lost. She said it was surprising. So I didn't do it then because I was married to somebody who drank every single day and didn't want to drink alone. So it was always like, you might be a fuddy-duddy. Like, oh my God, just have a drink. Just have a glass of wine. Let's just sit here and have a glass. It was always like that. And so I don't know. I don't think I quit until I start. And still, I mean, I'm not going to say like I'm a, what is that called? They call them something if you don't drink at all. I can't think of what it's called. It's funny too, is because, my dad was an alcoholic. So I was, alcohol and all that stuff is a part of my life, my whole life. And as I got older, I had heard that it is alcoholics and teetotalers. Teetotalers are the ones who create other alcoholics because they don't teach them any balance, how to drink responsibly or mature, is always out of control, or don't have any at all. Don't touch it. Get away from it. So to me, I can have I'm not really interested in drinking. I don't drink hard drink things unless, I guess, if it's a mimosa or a margarita or something. But I could go someplace and somebody's making some sort of like mango martinis, and I'd be like, oh, I want to try one. But that doesn't mean I'm going to sit there and have like 15 of them or something. And the other day, my daughter had some kind of ginger beer, and I tasted it, and I was like, oh man, that is too tangy or whatever. I ended up giving her half of it back, and then the rest of it I poured in my kombucha. It's like, but I think it was like 4% or something. It's not like some big, kombucha is fermented too, so it can have like 1 or 2%, of alcohol, I guess, in it. My daughter's always like, you got to get those strips and check and see how much yours has in it. But I know I don't drink it and get drunk. And, but anyways, to me, I'm not a teetotaler, but I'm not a drinker either. I'll drink every once in a while, have a drink if something sounds like interesting to me. I don't want to miss out. To try this, try that. But, I'm not into like, even last year I sat out and had a beer, watch the sunset and smoke a joint and drink a beer and sit out there. So, I don't know. But I'm not into drinking like all the time, like, well, what are we going to do this weekend? We got to get some drinks, and that's how so many people just has become living. And it isn't, like, man, the way that alcohol and stuff is used to keep you distracted, to keep you from doing stuff in life. I mean, I really think about what is the purpose of alcohol? Like when you watch these people who are all accepting of just being drunk all the time, then it is it's so toxic. It is like not doing good things in people's lives is not healthy. And I mean, and it is a total illusion or a fakeness to it when people think like, oh, and especially they push it in movies and commercials. Oh, heart health, have a glass of wine with dinner. And then it's adding on all these pounds. It's doing other things in your system. It's messing with your insulin and stuff like that because they want you to get sicker. So they push this stuff all the time. And it is stuff to make you sicker. And all these people who use alcohol to distract them from life, to not have to think about something. I mean, that's all it's used for, is to just distract. Like, oh, well, I'm not going to deal with that. Fuck, I'm going with my friends. We're going drinking, man. That's all it's about. It's just, and how it sneaks up on people. And people end up doing such shitty things. Like, oh my God, on this show, like every night it's got to be a goddamn party. And they got to have a theme. They got to spend a ton of money. People got to get drunk. And then they got to get in these fights. And that is like, and it reminds me of on these reality shows how, like Alabama Shores and stuff like that. All these different ones where they get these young people out, just Jersey Shores, all these ones where they get these young people out just being total idiots, just getting drunk and doing stupid shit, getting so drunk they fall down, doing stupid shit, and everybody sits and looks at them and laughs and stuff. But now these ones are adults. These aren't children doing this. This is adults. And this is people who know that they're being role models. They know that people are watching them and stuff. I don't know, man. It's so dysfunctional. And they're so, like, have no respect for themselves. I don't know. There's supposed to be a big shakeup at the end of this season, and a lot of people are going to leave because, I mean, it's like time. Jesus Christ, that's embarrassing. Like, to be fucking 40 years old and just get that waste. Oh my gosh, I don't know. Like, I've done it. I've been that wasted. That's why I know it's embarrassing as fuck. Yeah, I don't know. So anyways, that is, but all of that stuff, I mean, and so many people watch those kinds of shows. I mean, I see people talking about them all day long. Like, so many people watch these shows. And I swear to God, I think there's a sense of when people watch them so that they can feel better about themselves. So they can feel like, well, at least I'm not like that. At least I'm not doing that. At least I'm not being that way, but that causes division. And I can't get over still, like, some of the stuff these people come in and say, not just stupid shit, like about being, Joe's perfectly fine and, we shouldn't be looking at that and making it into something and stuff like that. Not just stupid shit like that, but there's more stupid stuff that they believe in. But there's a huge gamut of it because you got the religious people out there just being nasty as hell and what they believe. And then you got these other people who, I don't know. I mean, they really believe that the Christians, but this is pushed on their media. They really believe that the Christians are trying to take over or something. And I saw this one girl doing this video and I was like, yeah, I mean, this makes sense to me. She was like, schools from now on is going to be all of, she was going through this whole thing about church, reading the Bible, praying together. Kids can be baptized at school without their parents knowing anything about it. We're going to have like all of this same stuff, only doing it about religion, So maybe that they can recognize, like, this isn't okay. You can't just gather all the children and then sit there and indoctrinate them like this. And, you know, it is good for so many people. I guess now they have Gays Against Grooming has become a big group. So I don't know, they'll take over the LGBT. They'll get rid of that one because that is like the corporate entity of control to, and how they just make the people like they use the people, they push their agenda and they use these people to throw under the bus. It's just, and it's so sad is because they, you know, told all these people like that they would be supported, but they do it in this underhand, man, they're so underhanded, and it's like these people can't see, but it's gonna smack them right upside the head. That's the humiliation, like that they can't see how tricked they're being. And you know, I don't know how long it's gonna go. I think there's gonna be just so, like, it's the tension and all this stuff is building for sure. Well, man, what was that one? That was a horrible one too, because there's going to be more of these tensions, more of the two sides, you know, fighting into each other. Oh no, I can just see a lot of that kind of, there's just going to be so much more of just senseless stuff, like people just killing someone just because they're right there at that moment. But you got to remember that that was because it's going to seem like that to us, but that right there in that moment was the perfect alignment of what was supposed to happen. To us, it's going to seem like senseless and tragic, and there's so much of that going on. But there's going to be so much more senseless, tragic shit. So, you know, you just got to, this part is where I think you just really got to buckle up and not be, getting brought down. Like, there's so many sad stories. What was that other one? I had just seen it. Won't get out of my head, but I can't get it all the way because it is another really sad one. Like, there's so many of these ones. Like, oh, this couple. Like, I don't fuck. I couldn't even listen to this one. And there's so many horrible ones with animals. Like, motherfuck, God, these people. Like, who knew these people are so cut off from life? This couple had a baby that was brain dead or something, or their kid got hurt at 2 I can't remember what happened. Something happened and their kid got hurt and became brain dead. It was at the hospital. So they the hospital says we need to pull the plug. Just let this child go. There's no brain activity. The parents refused, took the baby home. Kept the baby. You think like, oh, well, you know, well, of course, that'd be hard to, you know, let your baby go. Of course, you'd want to take it home and do everything you could. But that's not what they did. I couldn't listen. But they just came home. God. The torture is supposed to be so bad that it is supposed to be just disgusting, whatever. They did a lot of really bad stuff for like a year. They've been doing it a year. And I don't even know what all. But it's supposed to be really, really sick and deviant. And there's so much of this. Like, I just saw, that's the thing, too, that I wanted to say. Okay, now I remember. This broke my fucking motherfucking heart, too. God, these people, gotta get love in their heart, man. This one is a whole rescue of dogs that are used as bait dogs. And this one was, would you adopt one of these dogs? And their faces are ripped off, man. Who can do that? How? How? Fuck, I heard about that such a long time ago. Come on. Still people doing it. When you see all these videos of these animals being rescued and shit, you see their soul in their eyes. It's really, man, some of the dogs, their whole faces is ripped off. Some of them are just twisted. So much. This is why all this has to go, why all this stuff has to be purged to the surface. We need to not live with people like that anymore. They bring down the energy of the planet. We need to not be around people who are so thoughtless and so hateful towards animals and kids and other beings. Like, there's all this stuff now coming out with elder abuse too. Like, all of this stuff is the dark separating from the light. And it is, it's hard. It's hard to see the dark. It's hard to know how much, and the trauma and stuff. And man, I just have such a hard, I know I can talk a mean old fucking game about it, like, but it's hard. It's very hard to, see faces and eyes and shit and pain, and then to just, because it is part of the experience, part of the game or whatever. But man, I just see so much pain. And so there's so much pain, even in these fucking people who are just getting drunk all the time. They're doing it to hide from themselves. Everybody's hiding from themselves and trying to put on some other persona so nobody notices. So you gotta stop hiding yourself. You gotta just go out there in the world and be yourself. Just try it. People don't even know who they are. They're so lost. I mean, they got men calling themselves lesbians, and so fucking ridiculous. And can't even, and I guess some younger girls now are calling themselves not men. Like, it's not even gonna be, they're trying to just get rid of female or something, which is impossible. It's not gonna work, because we're moving into the divine feminine. But you can see how we're under so much attack, and they want it to be, like, men or lesbians. Females are just not men. There's no more females, because now men are female, and so we are, they're trying to have it even where we're not even called. They're the female and we're the, I don't even know. I know it's not going anywhere. It's just to bring in the frustration, to bring in the change. So all this absurdity, all this bullshit has to keep going. But so many of these young girls, in the name of progression and stuff, and how much is so weird how they have all of these, to me, they have so many girls who just hate men for no reason. They just hate men. And now they want to be lesbians. You don't make yourself be a lesbian. That is what these people have been fighting for their whole goddamn lives. Is that they're made. They came that way. They didn't force it. They can't change it about themselves. But you have all these people, this huge amount of people who are changing it to themselves. Now I'm gay. Now I'm a lesbian. Now I'm bisexual. Now I'm okay. Well, these people have been fighting for who they were for their whole lives. And all these people just come in and just devalue these people, of wanting to just be respected for who they are and have their love counted as the same as our love. For us to not say your love's not real. You can't be really in love with somebody who's the same gender. For them to say, yes, I can. I don't know. It's just jacked up. People just can't figure out who they are. They can't figure, I just know it's going to be a big old crash and burn. And it's going to be, you can see, we have to go through this existential crisis of humanity. They all have to get to this point of who am I and what the fuck am I doing here? And I got to face the fact I've been living a fake ass life. And so, we got to go through that. That's what, we got to do. And our summertime is going to be an existential crisis for a lot of people. A lot of anger, and that too, another thing is why I'm not going to just sit here and put all of my money into trying to pay this house when we have judges saying they can't do this. We have the money crashing. We have bank crash after bank crash. And the human rights, all of that stuff coming. But, they can still come in and do whatever they want to this area. They can drop. I still am curious as if somehow one of these giant trucks isn't going to hit a gas line. And that's going to be our big thing that's going to happen over here. I don't know. I will be shocked if nothing happens because it just continues. I'm stuck in this 3D pocket. And it just continues. So something's got to come in and shake this shit up. Something's got to change. So anyways, we'll see. We'll see how this weekend goes. We'll see what's next. To me, be prepared for anything. And be true to yourself, man. Be motherfucking true to yourself. Get to know who you are. Don't just, use these stupid shit. I don't know. We're so much more. And people are just so limited in how they want to see themselves. So, go big. Go big, man. And go big on everything you see about you. And no matter what, just go big. And don't be held back. That's all they want us to do is be held back and be small and be depressed and be sad and just hurry up and get off the planet and, be strong. Enjoy your time here. Live an adventure and get to know yourself. Experience people, experience life, experience it. Don't just be held back and traumatized by the stuff they do. I mean, this is kind of basically like we are in a horror ride. This is worse than the haunted mansion at Disneyland. It's worse than I love the jungle ride and the haunted mansion. I love those. But it is worse than any of those. We're really going through really dangerous territory. We're really going through traumatic things. So this is really an intense game we're playing. So, just be aware. Be aware. That's all I can say. So I'll talk to you later. Bye.